Season 2. When we think about life, we think about pain, joy, peace, turbulence, stagnancy, growth, and a bunch of other things. Things that guide our experiences and how we view the batshit crazy society we live in. And with that, I bid you welcome to the Volatile Times with Daniel podcast, a show where I, Daniel, your host, seeks to bring just a little bit of balance on everything to the table. So sit back, relax, listen closely, because you are in for a treat. Hello, fluid ones. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good whatever time of the day you are listening to this, and welcome to the Volatile Times with Daniel podcast. Yes, we have officially started on the season 2, and even though this is an amazing thing, the season 2 of the podcast is starting. We aren't really starting this at a very, very happy moment in our history as Nigerians. In case some of you didn't know, something horrendous has happened. The most horrendous event in the democratic history of Nigeria happened on the 20th of October 2020. It's popularly known as the Lekki Massacre, and that is what we are actually going to be addressing today. So, today's episode is not going to have all the gym and all the niceties about the new things you're going to be hearing in the season 2 and all that stuff like that. So for this episode, I gathered a couple of friends and I wanted us to talk about the events of Tuesday night. Queen Rafi of the Queen Rafi Space, Abisola of the Pilgrimage of Her podcast, and Tobo Egbekun, my very, very long-term friend who is also a copywriter. And we sat together, we did a Zoom live. Some of you were able to catch it, some of you were not. We did a Zoom live and then we just talked about the events of Tuesday, what led to it, the aftermath, and how people could deal with it, and what we could determine would be the future of the movement of the NSAS protests. So, sit back, relax, listen. I think this was helpful, not just to us, but also to a lot of people who were online at the time, and I think it will be helpful to you also. Now, a little bit of a caveat. Because of our Nigeria network, we had some issues, voice overlapping because of the network. Should I say downtime, feedback? I don't even know what English to use, So just forgive the audio a little bit, but I think for the majority of it, you could streamline very well and not have issues. So here's the meeting. Okay, guys, so before I continue, let me just quickly talk about something. We live in a digital age where you don't even have to petition to a TV channel or a radio channel to get your very own talk show. You can simply create your own podcast. Even your favorite YouTuber has a podcast. But now you might be wondering, I don't know how to edit audio. I don't have money to start, anything. I don't have the budget and everything. But it's actually quite simple if you're considering using the Anchor platform. The Anchor app gives you a variety of tools and a very, very easy way to start your own podcast. And here's the kicker, here's the best thing about it. It is totally free, so you can start your podcast today at any time, and they also help you distribute your podcast across various podcast platforms. So you don't need to go far, you don't need to be an expert to do this thing, you don't need to be a super genius, to learn how everything works. There are tutorials even on the app and online, and even without doing all of that, it is quite easy to get the hang of the controls. So why not just start your own podcast today using the Anchor app? Okay, let me get introductions out of the way. So first off, we have Rafi Atakiwande. She's popularly known as Queen Rafi. She is a Muslimah, a radio presenter, and a podcaster, and she's the host of the Queen Rafi Space podcast. And her podcast has over 400 episodes. Guys, 400 episodes, like mad though, like we look up to the and then next up I have Tobo Egbekun. Tobo has been a friend of mine since school. That's back 2012, I think. has been a friend of mine since 2012. He's a content writer, he's a business to customer copywriter, and he's a blogger of sorts. Also, I have with me Abisola Isaac. I think I wrote Abisola Day on on the posters. I don't even know where that came from.
It's my full name is Abisola Odebumi.
I kept trying to find out what the Ode was, but then I was like, you know what, to hell with it. On the audio. Yeah, Abisola is a vocal coach. You can hear it from her voice. She's also a blogger. She's a podcaster, the host of the Pilgrimage of Her podcast, and a proud mother of one, Ara. Such a beautiful girl. Like, Ara is such a beautiful girl. And then we have Uche Naoka, popularly known as UC Royal. Uchenna is a lot of things. Like, she's a boss. She's a lot of things. She's a voiceover artist. She's a radio/TV presenter. She's a media personality. She's a podcaster. She's a journalist. Like, I can keep on going, but like, there's just so much I can read off. And she's the host of the 2 Cents with UC Royal podcast, which is a great podcast. But I think she went off. Next. So once again, I am so thankful that you guys are here. I am happy, and hopefully, I hope tonight's discussion will be a very productive one. I hope for it too. So, as people join, please, can you mute your mic if you are not speaking at the point, so that there will be less static noise and all this kind of stuff coming in. Thank you very much. So, the topic for tonight's meeting is the night Nigeria went dark. And I know it sounds dramatic and everything, but I think it's a very, very fitting topic for what we're going to be discussing about tonight, because it's a Tuesday night was a horrendous night. I don't know if anybody saw DJ Switch's live audio here, and Chris Clown's live audio, and a couple of people live audio. It was horrible to watch. Like, I was seeing bullets being put out and being taken out of people's body. You know, they were using scarves to, like, you know, put pressure on wounds to make sure that, you know, people don't bleed to death and everything. And it's not like something that you just see from movies, you understand? Like, you see this thing in movies, it looks exciting, you're like, we shout, yay, oh my God. But seeing it happen in real life to people that were just around our age, you understand, who were fighting for equality, who were fighting for justice, it was difficult to take in. And also, it was difficult more so because it was done by soldiers who were employed and trained to protect us, the citizens of this country. And just, you know, so let me start with Abisola. Abisola, you are not in Nigeria currently.
Yeah.
You're in the UK, but how was it being, even though you are not here, how was it learning about what happened on?
One word I would say is heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking because, you know, from over here, like, just like you said, I live in London, and to be very honest, if my parents didn't move to London, that could be me there on the streets. If we didn't move to London, this is what I was thinking. This was my thought process. That could be me out there. I have family over there. People are going out on the streets just demanding for basic human rights. Mm-hmm. Things that, you know, we've gone so long, we've lived for so long without. You know, just like, you know what, we just want to be able to live and be free. It's the simple things, and then to watch on social media, to just watch all these things going on, unfolding, and then you just feel helpless. You feel helpless. You feel like, what is it? What can I do? There's not much that you can do. You can just see people losing their lives in their own country. There's something that struck my, I don't want to say everything that I'll probably say tonight, but there was one thing that I was thinking about today with the whole Black Lives Matter movement and everything going on. All these things are happening in countries that are not your home. They're happening. When you go out protesting for Black Lives Matter in London, you're protesting for your equal rights in a country that's not really your home. Everyone still has somewhere that they can still call home. Now, me thinking that these protests are happening in Nigeria, which is your home, where else are you going to go? Where else are you going to go? But in your own home, people are shooting you, people are killing you, people are trying to keep you down for asking for the basic human rights that everyone should have. it was very heartbreaking. There was just so many emotions. I had to go off social media because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was just really, really bad.
Yeah, I understand exactly how you're feeling. Tobo, let me bring you in on this. How was the events of Tuesday night, the massacre, as we are calling it, at Tollgate, Lekki Tollgate? How was it for you? How was it? You're living in Lagos, you understand? You're living, even though you live hours away from where it happened, but still you're living in Lagos, the epicenter of where it happened. How was it for you? How was it to know that you are close to the place where something like that was happening?
Yeah, Daniel, thank you for inviting me for this discussion. Honestly, I felt helpless. I felt disgusted that something like this is actually happening. Basically, we're basically begging for, not begging for us not to be killed. And these people literally said, middle finger, we're going to shoot you on top your own rights. I mean, that's basically what we're trying to say. You are shooting at youth and for protesting peacefully. And the thing is, we never raised a finger. They didn't do anything. They did nothing wrong. They were just exercising our rights as citizens of Nigeria. And these guys brought bullets with war bullets to shoot at people. In fact, I couldn't just believe what I was seeing on DJ Switch's live on Instagram. It was horrendous. It was just madness. And even I was talking with my grandma yesterday. She was telling me that even during the Biafra War,
Hello, Tobo? Done strong thing.
it wasn't even this bad of what they just did. Civilians like that. If at all you're going to even be targeted.
Sorry,
So
hello, Tobo, please. Hello,
it's so
Tobo.
wrong. Honestly, man. Yeah. Daniel, I'm here.
We didn't catch what you said about the Biafra War. That seems important. So can you what you said about the Biafra War?
Okay, so my grandma was even telling me, yeah, are you there?
Yeah.
That that it wasn't even that bad. That even during the Biafra War, there are rules to even go. That if people are injured, they even let the ambulance or whoever that is taking care of people to even come over to take care of people down the war ground. Do you understand? Now, the ambulance was even supposed to pass through, and they didn't even allow the ambulance to pass through until minutes later, which means they wanted to almost finish everybody at that Lekki Toll Gate side. So, I mean, what happened on Tuesday, 20th of October, is something that is not done anywhere in the world.
Yeah,
it's really sad, Daniel. It's very, very sad.
Yeah, and on that, hello, Queen Rafi. I see that you're back. So, I'd like to bring you in on the conversation, and I'd like to actually ask a question. How do you think we devolved into that kind of? How do you think we got to that situation? Like the protest started peacefully. Everything started peacefully. You know, it was a couple of people, they were camping out somewhere, and then it became thousands and thousands of people in over 100 cities in Nigeria. And peaceful protests. Then we heard about thugs and everything, but how did we go from hiring thugs to disrupt the protests to just having our soldiers just gone down its own cities? Like, I'd like to bring you in on that, Queen Rafi. Do you have any opinions or any insights?
I think I was following the whole. First off, I don't even know what triggered the NSAS protest to start, but of course, this has been something that has been happening quite a lot of times. Almost every year, there's always a time where people say, "Oh, this SARS people have to go," and all of that. But I think that at the point where we moved from it being a peaceful protest to it becoming really bloody was when they were hiring thugs to actually distract the NSAS protest people. And still yet the NSAS protesters refused to go, become violent. Instead, the other people that had like help from feminist co on Twitter decided to start hiring, private security companies to actually be like a form of security for them. So the government is like, we're doing everything possible to make this thing calm down. And it seems like when we bring up a new rule, there is something else that these people are able to stand because these people were ready for the long haul. I think that, the best thing, the best thing that they thought in their minds was, what? I mean, if we start to shoot, maybe that's going to disrupt the whole thing, which is what has happened. But at the same time, we've lost quite a lot of people. And the truth is, Nigeria actually has a history of using violence to stop protesters. The only problem this time, I will not say the only problem, I'll just say this time around is because it's happening to a younger generation who are active on social media and can actually make a lot of noise about it. This is not the first time that the government have sort of decided to violence to stop protesters. For example, there was the Shiite movement that was happening in Zaria. Till today, those people claim that over 300 people of their members were actually killed and mass buried by the Nigerian army. We cannot verify that, but because those people were not live streaming what happened, and they are a particular Islamic sect, and people felt like they were, always looking for trouble and stuff, and always, doing their movements without informing anybody or the stuff. People didn't talk about it, so it was okay for that to happen to them because, oh well, they are sort of like a nuisance, even though what happened to them was not good. Same thing happened to the IPOB protesters, the Biafra guys who want to have Biafra. The same thing, the government used the Nigerian army to go there, shoot everybody down. A very popular one that we all can relate to, Timaya's Bayelsa ODO. That was exactly what happened in Bayelsa as well. Sending the Nigerian army level of whole community down to the ground. The only difference now is this time around it was live streamed. This time around it was shown. If not, look at all of the news that have been coming up to say, oh, they're literally telling us that something that was a live stream is actually Photoshop. And I'm like, oh, that if you want to lie, can you not be intelligent? You lie. So that's just the truth. This is not the first time that Nigerian government has decided we cannot handle this or they cannot handle something. They resolve to, okay, let's use violence. So it's just really sad that this time around it's on a global scale that we can all see this. Internet, this live streaming. If not, they would come and spin a different story for us on the news. And because we did not see what happened clearly, we would support it. And I think that's it. They just couldn't understand the fact that they were doing everything to stop it from doing this protest. But the youth were insisting, we want action. We just don't want you to come and talk on and paint everything good and nice for us. So there was nothing else for them to do. They tried to bribe leaders. The protesters say, we don't have leaders. You want to talk to us? Talk to everybody. We had issues of some particular state governments giving money to the protesters and the protesters rejecting them. That has not happened in Nigeria in a very long time. What they are used to is people shout, we are protesting, and then they say, oh, bring your leaders to the table, let's negotiate. And there's brown envelope, and then the whole thing dies down. But this time around, the youth were like, we know all these tactics. It's not going to work on us this time around. And they just felt, you know what, let's use violence. That's just exactly what happened there. And it's really, really sad. I couldn't watch DJ Switch's live stream for long. I just couldn't because I couldn't believe that it was happening in Nigeria. And I just couldn't believe that people were being shot at while they were singing the national anthem and waving the Nigerian flag. I just needed to get off that life because if I stayed there, I think the last stretch of hope or whatever it is I have in Nigeria would have just died. So I try to protect that by not watching that live. But honestly, it was disastrous.
Yeah, okay. I want to take off the and we on Twitter, because I've been very, very active on Twitter with the whole NSAS movement, tweeting and retweeting and sharing and talking to people and everything. I've been very, very active on Twitter. And I remember a post that said the government was about to deploy soldiers. I remember that I didn't really take it to be that serious, but then people started tweeting and retweeting again. And then somebody said that he spoke to his dad who served in the army, and that in situations like that, all they need to do is raise up the flag, don't engage the soldiers, raise up the Nigerian flag up high, make sure it is visible, and chant the national anthem, and that the soldiers will not be able to fire on them due to maybe a protocol, a rule or law or anything. But then we saw something else different. Something else happened. And we know what happened. And like you said, Rafi, this is the age of the internet. It was live stream. They switched to live stream. Chris Clown also live stream, and a couple of other people. But yet, the very next day, what we heard on the news was different. What the governor of Lagos State, Sanwo-Olu, said was different. What's different? Even the army on Twitter, what they said was different. It was basically gaslighting. And I'd like to bring you in here, Abisola. Are you familiar with the concept of gaslighting? Hello, Abisola, are you here? Okay, maybe she had to.
Hi, just give me 1 second. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, please just ask me that question again if you don't mind.
Yeah, I don't mind. The question I asked was, are you familiar with the concept of gaslighting?
No, not really. Are you talking about, because I listened to what you just said about the wrong information, and then obviously people going ahead with information that they read. Is that what you're referring to?
No. I just found this out recently, and I only found it out because of Big Brother Nigeria. Apparently, you can learn something from Big. So
Oh.
I learned about the concept of gaslighting.
I can add in, don't mind being interrupted. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, so the term gaslighting is, for example, an administration downplaying something they've done wrong. So if a government does something and it's totally wrong, and they're trying to downplay the situation to make it not look as serious as it is, that's an example of gaslighting.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
So yes, that's what she said.
Yeah, that's happened a lot.
Yeah, please continue.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say that's happened quite a lot in the last few days. First of all, with the governor of Lagos saying that there were no fatalities, or there were no, seriously injured people killed as a result, which we all know is completely wrong. As Rafi said, if we didn't have the lives and if we didn't have the videos and everything going around, we would completely believe what they've said. And I don't know if any of you have seen the tweets that Buhari put out. I don't know, he put it out today, basically downplaying everything that's happened and making it seem as though people have just been out there being violent for no reason, and if we need a way to resolve things, then we should resolve it with conversations and things going on. And it's like, we're not stupid. We've been seeing everything unfold. We started off with peaceful protests, and then you didn't say anything for weeks. You didn't say anything for days, and now you're coming out to downplay everything that's been going on. Seriously downplaying things. People have not been able to sleep. People have been crying all over the world. People have been protesting, candlelight, everything. People have been doing whatever they can, because this is hitting each and every one of us. It's hitting every human being. And for the president of Nigeria to go on Twitter, on a social media platform, to release these statements downplaying everything that's going on, shows that there is no regard for human life. There is no regard for Nigeria and its citizens. And at this point, I don't know how we can move forward with this, because people are so broken. It's like, where do you find the hope? Where do you find the hope if your leaders are selling lies or telling lies, and are downplaying the seriousness and the severity of everything that's going on?
Exactly. I mirror that sentiment exactly. Up next, I want to bring Tobo and Rafiat. I'll bring Tobo in first, and then Rafiat second. On the internet, I don't know whether it is yesterday or today, it started the Jubril rumor. And for those who are not familiar with the Jubril rumor is something that I think started out in 2015, just shortly after Buhari took up office. It was a rumor that circulated for about 3 months that we did not hear anything from the president. He was in Nigeria. Some said he was dead. Some said he was this and that. And then Jubril rumor rose up that when Buhari came back, it wasn't Buhari. It was a doppelganger. It was a double. It sounds James Bond. It sounds Mission Impossible, kind of, like wearing a mask and then, the whole voice tag and everything. And, it's circulating in the teams. But, Tobo, here's the question I would like to ask you. What is the probability? Like, I know we are not spy agencies, we are not analysts, crime analysts here and everything. We are just regular people that have a mind for ourselves. So I have to ask you, what is the probability that the Buhari on the presidency throne, because it's a throne right now, not a democracy, what's the probability that he's a doppelganger and not the actual guy?
Well, honestly, the reports and the tweets I've been seeing from the past few years, because there's a tweet from an Eric Joyce from 2017 giving his condolences to Nigeria, saying that Buhari was dead and all that. And there were about 2 other tweets like that too. Well, the thing is, let's say Buhari is dead. It doesn't make any difference because he wasn't even doing anything in the first place. So the thing is, it will be very sad that they are just using a puppet to just or a figurehead just to control whatever is happening in the country. You understand? And the main issue here is, even if Buhari was still alive, due to his trend of way back since when he was even in power in the 80s, he never really had any impact in government. He was always tribalistic with his motive, with everything going around. So we cannot say for certain if he's actually alive or not. But if he's not, that would be disastrous for the country. You understand? Because there are a lot of conspiracy theories around and everything. But if he isn't, well, Daniel, that would be really bad. That would be so bad. But my point is, Buhari has never had the interest of the nation at heart. All he has an interest in is just his part, his tribe, and how to take care of the North, and how to keep his people in ignorance so he can continue to get votes for the next elections to come or something, or to favor his people. Wow. So even if he is dead or alive, there is no impact that Buhari can do. I mean, look at what Abisola just confirmed with the tweets. You understand? So yeah, that's my view on it. So whether he's dead or not, Daniel, it doesn't make any difference. He's incompetent, and so is his minister and his cabinet.
Wow, those are very, very strong words. Some sentiments that I echo. And Rafi, let me bring you in here. Question I want to ask you right now is, why do you think people are circulating the rumor of Buhari being the current Buhari being a doppelganger, being a Jubril? Why do you think people are circulating it now? What do you think is the reason behind it? Hello, Rafi, are you here?
Hello?
Okay, yeah,
I'm here.
Did you hear the question?
Yes, I got the question. Okay. I think that a lot of people feel that this particular president there is not the real president and all of that. And this is why, because when things happen, you expect that your leader, your president, somebody you supposedly gave your vote to, would come out to say, I'm assuring you that everything is okay. Like, he comes out as quickly as possible to, assure you that everything is going to be okay, and, I'm on top of the situation. Even if you're not on top of the situation, there is something that a leader's morale does to it. It tells the people that you care. It tells the people that you see them. Do you understand? And that has not been the trend for him. Let's look at the COVID-19 situation. COVID-19 was going on for like how long? Almost 2 to 3 weeks before we heard anything from the supposed president. And in fact, it almost became a lot of noise that why is the president not saying anything? Why is the president not saying anything? And when he was finally going to say anything, it was a recorded message. There were even calls from journalists to say, we want to, have a live session with the president. But that didn't happen. After the whole noise about COVID-19, we had about 3 different recorded messages from the president saying, oh, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do. But the thing is, why do you need all that prep to come on if you are okay, if you are all right, if everything is, okay where you are? A president doesn't, let's take, for example, the Ghanaian president. The Ghana president himself, during the COVID-19 thing, he was doing an update every single day to his people, every single day. In fact, Ghanaians started to complain at some point that the president was on the TV too much. Meanwhile, in Nigeria, we were complaining that we have not even seen our president at all. Wow. Take a look at the whole NSAS movement here in Nigeria as well. Look at the NSAS movement. It took almost a whole week of people protesting for the president to send a recorded message, not up to 2 minutes, about 1 minute. People started calling it a voice note, a recorded message, and it was posted on Twitter. It was posted on Twitter. Look at this one too. It took 48 hours, because according to, now that we're having this, I realized, I heard that the president had an arrest. He had an address by 7 p.m. today. It took 48 hours for you to come out. You are the commander-in-chief. The army just shot at people. The governor of the state says it was power beyond his control. You are the commander-in-chief. Everybody else is going to believe that you gave the order. And it took you 48 hours to come out and address the country. That alone makes people think that, okay, maybe it's not Buhari that is there. So the person that is there needs to do some training, needs to do some preparation. And when you don't give the people the truth, they're going to find all kinds of conspiracy theories to support whatever they feel at that point in time. And that's what Nigerians are doing. We don't have the The presidency is not supplying the truth. Everybody is grasping at whatever it is they can grasp at. I was watching Al Jazeera, and the special assistant to the president, the reporter was asking him, why do you think the president hasn't addressed? And the guy said he had no idea why the president hasn't addressed. Hello, if you that work in the presidency, you're the special assistant, do not have an idea why the president hasn't addressed us, how is me, a common nobody, supposed to know? The woman was like, okay, so when is the address going to happen? The guy said he had no idea. And that's somebody who is working in the presidency. So if that person, if the people who are working in the presidency, they say they don't, okay, imagine this whole thing going on. His wife was just posting videos of Hausa music, begging her husband to react. I mean, if Mr. M becomes president tomorrow and something is happening, I'm not sure the next thing I'll be doing is posting Yoruba song on Twitter. I'm going to be talking to my husband or making him do something, appear, do something. But you start to think, does this man really exist if his wife has to be posting songs on Twitter to say, address the people? It just doesn't make any sense. And when things don't make sense, people will grasp at conspiracy theories. And that's what people are doing. At the point, I felt like the Jubril thing was just like, okay, conspiracy theory. I mean, Nigeria, are we really that advanced to even? But trust me, in the last 48 hours, I can't put anything past the Nigerian government. I'm not even going to be surprised if it's not. If me, say, I started looking for connection, whether it's Jibril or it's not Jibril. As smart as I would like to believe I am, I started looking for the connection to it. Because, I mean, let's take Oyo State Governor. Let's even use Oyo State Governor, for example. The guy came out, when people would not go back to their house, the guy came out to the street to beg the guys to say, see, I'm your governor, I'm right here, I'm begging you. As soon as they stepped on the street, they were all happy. They were all happy. They were all excited. They left the streets and they were like, okay, no problem. Let's just end this and stop. That's the kind of morale that a leader that truly cares gives. And Buhari in recent times has not given us that kind of morale. Anything major happens, the governor will sit, soak for maybe 48 hours before you address. And when those kind of things happen, I mean, Ghana president was tweeting to tell us that he spoke to the president.
Yeah.
And we in Nigeria had not heard anything from the president. And you're thinking, you're connected to Ghana and you can't even send out a tweet. You can't even say something. So all those kind of things if I want to speak to my father, I can't speak to my father. And my father was sick for a very long time. I will begin to think that maybe my dad is dead and they're just trying to lie to me, or they're just trying to replace with something. And even the video that we saw when Sanwo-Olu had went to show him the 5 for 5 that the youth were asking for. My guy was laughing. He didn't say a word to Sanwo-Olu. He didn't say a word to him.
Yeah.
He was just laughing. So you're starting to think, is this just president really care? He's not the president.
Yes. Sorry, let me cut you off here. And I understand what you're saying. Like, me too, I feel it's a need for people to grasp as something else, like a reason to justify what has happened. And the emotion that many of us felt was rage at the situation. We felt angry. We felt helpless. And that helplessness even translated to anger for a lot of people. And then we saw it devolve into riots where they said, like my friend Tobo would say, they were strategically destroying businesses that will hurt people. But my question now is, and I hope anyone is willing to answer, I'm throwing this out to everybody. My question now is, the riots that happened, the vandalism of properties and every single thing, who would it hurt the most? The people in government or the regular citizens? Who would it hurt the most? I'm throwing this out there if anyone wants to pick it up.
Yeah, Daniel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just feel like it will affect everyone, definitely. It will affect everybody. It will affect...
Okay, so at this point, remember at the beginning I said we had network issues? Yeah, we had a lot more than network issues. Apparently, I forgot that the Zoom meeting was on a 40-minute timer, and I didn't take that into consideration. So we were cut off at this point. And when we came back, I forgot to record. Imagine, I forgot to record. So about 5 minutes to 10 minutes of the conversations was lost. So I'll basically just do a recap. So during that time that was lost, Abisola and Tobo gave their opinions on the last question I asked, which was about the impact of the ensuing riots as a result of the Lekki massacre on Tuesday night. Who would it affect the most? And both of them came to a very, very I would say, informed consensus that it will affect both parties, both the government and the regular people, but it will affect the regular people much more. Many people are going to lose their jobs. Many people are going to be, stranded and different things like that. And it's going to make things harder for people. And why it is going to make things harder for people, it might bring about a revolution or be what will spearhead making things better for the people in the long run. But for now, the regular citizens are going to be affected a lot, much more than the government, because no matter how much the government is going to lose, they've stockpiled so much that it's going to be like they're losing chicken change in the end. And from there, I moved on to asking Queen Rafi about how people could deal with the mental trauma and the mental stress of Tuesday night event. And that is what she's going to be talking about next.
Do you need me to just recap or something?
Okay, I would like you to recap on the part about how can people deal with the emotional trauma that ensued because of Tuesday's event. Sorry about that.
I'll just do like something. It might not be as detailed as before, but I'll do something really quick. Okay, so let's see. I think that a lot of ways that people can, deal with what happened on Tuesday, first of all, is to, as much as possible, feel what you're feeling. Let yourself go through the emotions that you're going through. A lot of us, as much as they say Nigerians don't love their country, a lot of people love this country. And for you to blatantly see that the country that you love doesn't love you back, it's quite a lot of things to go through in your mind. But allow yourself to feel what you're feeling. If you're feeling mad, be mad. If you're feeling angry, be angry. If you're feeling sad, be sad. Just allow yourself process that. Because if you don't process that emotion, there's going to be a lot of problems if you don't do that. Another thing again is to, find people that you can talk to about it. Talking always helps. I think people underestimate the healing powers of just talking. If you want to call up a friend and you guys can talk and bash the government as much as you want. It's going to take some sort of burden off you, and it's just going to make you feel a lot more lighter about exactly what it is that is going on. I mean, we being on here is also a way of detoxing and trying to get out some of the things that's on our mind. Exactly. If that is not working and you feel yourself falling deeper, then it's time to get help, and that help is available online. I know there's a lot of information online, but if you're specific about just going there to find one thing, you would find it. I mean, search for mentally aware on Twitter. They've been having all of these group sessions. They've been calling up people. As soon as the NSAS protest started, they've been having all of that because they know this is a lot of trigger to a lot of people. So if you feel that you're getting to that point where I don't call my friend, I know if you handle them, you've tried to, process your emotions, you can't do it all by yourself, then it's time to get help. They have a lot of materials on their website. So even before you get to somebody to talk to you from the mentally aware organization, you can go through their materials for how to deal with a panic attack, how to deal with sadness, and so many other stuff that they have on there. It's very important. Another way is to unplug. It's important for you to unplug because there's a lot of information overload, especially on social media. Social media used to be where we used to go and have fun, where we used to go and laugh at all the clapbacks on Twitter. But now, Twitter is literally like a whole media organization. Fake news, bad news, all kinds of news are spreading on there. You don't even know which one is true. No. They say somebody was shot. The next thing they tell you, it's from a drama. It's 2015. So it's necessary for you to unplug from social media as much as you can. And even the news itself. I mean, I see some people staring at Arise TV for like hours and hours. All of that does something to you. So unplug from all of that as much as possible. Watch comedy movies. Watch things that don't require you to process anything at all. It's a really good way to distress, honestly. Watch things that don't require too much thinking. Something that you can just laugh and it's not so stressful. It's really important for this time that we are. And one thing I'll also finally say when it comes to unplugging is to also remind yourself that you need to feel what you're feeling. Because when you don't feel what you're feeling, you internalize a lot of stuff. And by the time you're going to explode, it might even be worse than people that are destroying all kind of properties. And you don't want to do that to yourself. So allow yourself to feel and then allow yourself to find a way through that. There is no textbook answer to how you can go through. I cannot tell you if you do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and you're going to be okay. Your own healing process might start from F to A. Somebody's own might just be A and B, but you need to try everything possible to protect yourself as much as you can.
Thank you so very much. And I'm sorry I had to make you say all of that again, but like it was helpful to even hear it a second time. Helpful to hear a second time. And you mentioned something like sometimes you can just record yourself ranting. Like act like as if there's somebody at the other end of the recorder and just rant. Like I had to do that with a friend because he was going through something, and he had something he needed to say to someone, but he didn't want to be rude. He didn't want to say hurtful things. So I just drew him to a corner. I turned on my phone recorder and I said, "Act like as if somebody, the person you need to say these things to, is on the other end of the phone." And I just acted like as if I wasn't there. And he started pouring out his heart. It was awesome to see. And when he was done, he didn't even listen to the recording again. When he was done, there was this calmness, like, I've taken everything out. You understand? It didn't solve the issue, but it reduced the amount of he was feeling at the time. So yeah, that's something we can also try again. Abisola, would you like to chip in a few things at this point?
I mean, Queen Rafi, as the Queen, she said really, really helpful things. I wouldn't say that there's much that I can add to that. Just going off what she said, what I find helpful for me personally is to write things down. And when I say write things down, sometimes you go back and read it and you're thinking, okay, what? I was feeling this way. Or was that me or someone else? So it's really helpful to write it down when you're feeling frustrated. Take time out, listen to music. There are things that you can do, breathing exercises. I think, like she mentioned, some pages are out there on Instagram, just out there on breathing exercises, meditating in a sense that I'm not trying to say I'm not trying to get anyone into any funny business, but yeah, but meditating, taking a quiet time, writing things down, listening to music, yourself what would work for you. So it's just to just take that time out to unwind. And like Queen Rafi said, all the information on social media, just take a social media break. It is not what it used to be. Now, every time you're on social media, it can make you feel worse. So every time you're seeing something that, is making you feel a certain way, just go off it completely. Just take time out from social media and, go for a walk. Just look outside and see what's outside. Look, what's going on. I feel like things like that help. So that's my own little contribution. Yeah, that's what I say.
Thank you very much. Like Queen Rafi, like you said, as the Queen, killed it, and you came up as a great support. Thank you so very much. Like what you guys have said is so very helpful. And I'm sure to others who are currently listening or who are going to be listening to it through the podcast tomorrow, they are going to find many of the things you guys have said helpful, because these are volatile times. I had to chip that in. But these are volatile times. You understand?
I was waiting for it. It's a bit late, to be honest.
It's a bit late,
You're watching a movie and you're waiting for when the name of the movie appears.
Like, I didn't want to.
And I think something that I missed out. Daniel, sorry, I think something that I did miss out that I think just came into my head now as regards what you can do to help your mental health. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Yes, I'm hearing you.
Hello. Yeah, I think one thing that we did miss out, I know that a lot of people might say, why are you bringing this in? But honestly, I'm a big fan of prayer. If prayer is what works for you, don't let anybody tell you there's no God or there's nobody listening. If there was a God, all of this would not be here. If prayer is what works for you, my brother, better get on your prayer. If you're a Muslim, if reading the Quran is what works for you, you better read that Quran as much as you can, because like I said, you have to know what works for you. Because people are online saying, if there was a God, this will not be happening, blah, 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 doesn't mean that your faith that you have in God should just be discarded for that. If prayer is what works for you at the time, trust me, go ahead and do it. What is important is you getting yourself back to at least an 80 or a 90, because I can't even tell anybody it will be 100 at this point. But at least an 80 or a 90, or even if you're fluctuating, just getting yourself back there. So if prayer is what works for you, please pray. Even if it's just one line of prayer that go ahead and say it. You never just know when the universe might be listening. And sometimes it might just be the prayer of one person, who could be you, that would save all of us from all of this drama and all of this madness.
Hallelujah. Thank you so very much. And I actually was going to mention prayer because yesterday morning, I woke up and I had this, I had this big pain in my heart. I had this thing, and then the first thing I saw, because I turned on my data because I had to receive emails and everything, and then I saw this tweet where somebody was like, "Haven't we prayed enough?" And I was like, "That's a good question," but I was like, "That isn't really a question for people right now." And it inspired me to write something on my WhatsApp status, which I'm going to read out. It said, "For many wondering, we aren't praying so that we can dump our situation in God's lap and be like, there, solve it. We aren't praying so that we can ignore the situation or ignore our responsibilities to it. This is a misconception. We pray because we believe God who is just. We pray because we believe God who instructs unto righteousness. We pray because we believe God who time and time again has set people free from oppression. We pray because rather than wallow in our helplessness, we wallow and table it in God's presence. When we are unable to do anything or see any, we go to our Father for strength, for hope, for peace, and for justice. We pray so that we find a strength beyond our mortal bones to endure and persevere. We pray because for many of us, it is the only thing we can do. We have no strength anywhere except in God. We tweet, we repost, we talk to people, but our biggest contribution is talking to our Father. We pray because this is how we fight our battles. Justice will surely prevail sooner or later. God never fails. So please don't take away the drive and significance of prayer from who already feel too due to how things are and work. Also, just because we can't see it, it doesn't mean our prayers aren't working, and it doesn't mean things are not. So that's just a short of, because I didn't want to read everything, that's just a short of what I posted on my WhatsApp status. And I actually got a lot of messages with people like, yeah, they needed to hear this, this helped. And I was like, it was just inspiration that I hit. So like Queen Rafi said, writing helps a lot, you understand? In fact, you might write the next, album that will shake Nigeria. Abisola, I'm looking at you. So I want to now go to the last question for tonight, because as much as we want to dwell on, what happened in the past and, walk through it, part of that, I think, part of the healing process is looking towards the future. So, and since we're talking about the protest, I want to ask, is there a future for protests currently? Tobo, I'd like to ask you this question. Is there a future for a protest currently? Because I know you're a copywriter, and a copywriter is supposed to write something that targets a particular audience, you understand? So as a copywriter with that marketing mindset, is there a future for the NSAS protests currently?
Well, yeah, definitely. Daniel, please, you mean if the NSAS protest that we've done currently, whether it has had any impact or will have any impact?
No, that's not actually what I mean. I mean, like Abisola mentioned, and I also mentioned, the violence, and seeing violence currently has already taken over the image of NSAS protests. You understand? It has derailed things a bit. So, taking off that, we've seen that, okay, now that we go out on the streets, we are likely going
future. Is that your question?
Network. Sorry. The question I'm basically trying to ask is, now that what happened on Tuesday happened, moving forward, is there a future for the NSAS movement?
I'm listening.
Like, is the future still going out to protest, or going online to protest, or just taking more legal work, or we should just calm down and
Oh, okay. Oh, you see, when it comes to honestly, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to emotions and messages and movements, one of the strongest things for marketing is once you make people feel like, when you make the movement the very foundation of something, it can never die down. Especially when their interests, they can see their interests right in front of them, and they see that this thing is threatening their lives. It can never die down. Trust me, the government thinks that if they react to violence, people will back down. But no, no, Daniel, no. I can tell you that people are sad, yes. People are broken, but they're only going to come back stronger and continue protesting. I mean, you could see, was it not yesterday or early this morning, people still went back to that Lekki place, the Lekki Toge, and kept protesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said before, it's like you can't kill what's already dead. Once what the action they took, they killed some parts of people. And the thing is that once you've killed something, you can't kill it again. and therefore they are only going to come back stronger and better. The emotions that they are going to channel through, they are going to do something better to make the country. You and I, everyone is going to play their part, online, offline. Even if they can call off several curfews, they can call on and anything they want to do. People will continue. Things will never remain the same. Things will change because people have been triggered and they've reached in. I mean, this is a democratic. It is anyway. It's supposed to be a democratic society, and they decide to respond to violence. Now, the thing is, people are going to continue to press hard and nothing is going to stop the movement. It's only going to get better afterwards, after getting worse, but it's going to get better. It's going to get better.
Thank you so very much for that. And I think you are right on the money when you say people are still going to... let me share something on my screen. It's something I saw on one of the group chats I'm part of, and it says, summary of Buhari's speech. It says, number 1, come out for our roads. Number 2, abeg, stop vandalizing. Number 3, return Oba of Lagos's things. Number 4, you see my Agbada set. Number 5, una no be protesters. Number 6, police officers wey died. Sorry, o. Number 7, governors wey do their work. Well done, o. And immediately I saw that, I was like, damn, people are not going to back down. Like you said, you can't kill something that's already... People are not going to back down. People are going to be gung-ho. In fact, I have a feeling that my friend said something today. He says something is going to happen very soon. I don't know whether it was in the spirit of prophecy, but like my spirit resonated with that. I felt it when he said something big is going to happen very soon. I felt it and cannot tell whether it's going to be a good big or a bad big, but something big is going to happen soon. And Queen Rafi said, "What is dead never die." Like tonight is just, oh God, let's I don't want to draw things way too long because that's the thing that hits me tonight. What is dead never die, and it's true. And it's true, we know some people, take the people who died at the beginning of the whole NSAS thing, you understand? Na Game of Thrones line. Oh, shit. Take people that died at the end of the whole NSAS thing at the beginning. The deaths propelled people forward. It gave people drive, you understand? We kept saying, remember the end. I even wrote a short piece that I never share these pieces. I don't, but at the end of the piece, it said, be happy for you have done all these things. You have made the country better. A dead heartbeat. These people have died, but their dead heartbeat has propelled us forward. It has given us courage. It has given us the drive to do better and to ask for more and to not back down. And I'm so happy, Fowles, his dad, so many other people, Mr. Macaroni, a lot of people are speaking up, are standing at the forefront of us. And we are also doing things. And I'm so proud as a Nigerian. I am so proud to see us united, not on top of Yahoo matter, but for justice. And with that, I want to end tonight with this statement. Let's not forget to keep on praying. Some people are hurting so much and they don't know how to ask for help. Some people are hurting. Some people who, take the family of Oke who died from, thugs trying to raid his house, at least that's what I heard. Take his family, take the mothers who have lost their children, take the fathers those who have lost spouses. We need to pray for these people and we need to pray for ourselves as a nation because, like I said, no great movement happens without God. I don't care what anybody wants to say. No great movement happens, no great change happens without God. So we say RIP, rest in peace, and we hope all these people find rest in the bosom of God. We hope they see eternity. And did I just say died well? It's just a very, very emotional. I don't want to draw this too long. So thank you so very for everybody who showed up. Thank you, Abisola. Thank you, Tobo. Thank you, Queen Rafi. We couldn't have UC Royal. It's such a sad thing, but I'd love to hear our view. But thank you so very much for gracing us with your...
Thank you for asking. Thank you for inviting.
Thank you, Daniel.
Inviting us.
Yeah, it's an honor. Thank you so much.
And I would like to say thank you to everyone who is still here. I would like to say thank you to Ernest, Olusoya, my boss. Thank you so very much. I'd like to say thank you to Ituno Akimbode, Jody Lake, Mudupe Oluwa, Olayemi Ajibola, S. Stavely. I have a feeling that is Stanley, my guy, but he's hiding his name. Yeah, hiding. Thank you so very much for turning out tonight. I hope tonight's discussion helped of us. And yes, may Nigeria get better our time. The generation that comes after our children, the ones who we are currently teaching also, may they look at our past and see that, yes, we effected the change that enables them to live. So once again, thank you so very much. God be with everyone. And yeah, we've come to the end of the
Yes, so finally, that was the end of the meeting, and thank you so very much for listening so far. I really appreciate you guys, and I hope our discussion was helpful to some of you to process the events, to be informed, also to process your emotions. You understand? I hope you guys got good advice, you understand, and how to think about the situation. Also, I forgot to do this in the meeting, but I'm doing it right now. For our host, I'm very sure you guys enjoyed the way they talked, enjoyed their views and everything. So I would like to give you a way for you to contact each and every one of them. And I'll start with Queen Rafi. Queen Rafi's podcast is on so many platforms. So no matter what platform you're using for your podcast, to listen to podcasts, you can just search for Queen Rafi Space on it and you definitely find her podcast. But on social media, on Instagram, she goes as at Queen Rafi Space, and on Twitter she goes at Queen_Rafi. Now for Tobo, like I said, is a blogger, so you can find his works. He's a blogger and copywriter rather. You can find his works both on LinkedIn and on Medium. All you have to do is search for Tobo Egbekun. Egbekun is actually spelled Egbekun, and Tobo is spelled Tobou, in case for those who were getting it wrong. And on Facebook, he goes by his name, Tobo Egbekun. And on Twitter, he goes by Mickey_EEE. That's triple E, Mickey_EEE. And on Instagram, he goes as Mr_T1. T as TEE1. Then lastly, there's Abisola Odebumi, which I kept on saying Abisola Odebumi. Anyway, her podcast also is on so many platforms, also on Apple, same with Queen Rafi's podcast. So all you need to do is search for her podcast, which is titled The Pilgrimage of Her. The Pilgrimage of Her. And on Instagram, she goes as at The Pilgrimage of Her, and same thing with Facebook. On Twitter, she goes as Abi Ode, and that is ABIIODE at Abi Ode. So also, the Twitter handle for your guy, this year podcast. On Instagram, we go as at Volatile with Daniel, and I'm working on the Facebook page, yeah. But on Twitter, I go as Daniel Briggs at Daniel Briggs. Briggs is spelled BRIGGZ. So follow us, interact with them. You can send a message, you can show appreciation for their contributions and everything on this episode of the podcast. And also, you can donate to the podcast. You can support the podcast financially through Shukran. You can make a daily donation, a weekly donation, a monthly donation, anyway how your heart moves you, whether it's 100 naira or $1 or as much as 1 million or $1 million, as much as the Lord moves you. But majority of all, I am thankful for your support by listening, and I hope you share the link to this episode to other people, and I'll see you next week.